Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on your notifications so you don't miss an update. Well, the draft is complete and the Falcons made their selections. I don't have a tough question here for you, Terrence. Just simply put, do you like their draft? Why or why not?
You know what? I love what they did in the draft. They drafted need. They did a great job with the fourth pick in the draft, where they picked a guy that can help them right away, that can sell tickets to get the fans excited, and can help this offense. I thought defense they helped themselves defensively, picking a safety that they needed. But I think in the fifth round, picking Big AO from Notre Dame was a steal. I thought, there's edge rusher right there. And the great thing about that pick right there is where he was selected. He's under the radar. He's not expected to come in and get double-digit sacks whatsoever, so they can work his way into the lineup and put some pressure on quarterback and make some plays. And so I thought that was a really good pick for the Falcons.
All right. Well, let's go over the draft selections, and we already did talk about Kyle Pitts last episode, so we got a lot of talk about today. So we'll go ahead and move to the other draft picks, maybe talk about some undrafted free agents and some other transactions that the Falcons have made in recent days.
Yes.
So second round, you did have a safety going.
Yes.
The Falcons picked Richie Grant from UCF. What do you like about this guy?
Well, what I like about him is that he's played a lot of football and his experience, and he's played in a conference where he had to cover and then he had to make plays in the run game. So this was a great pick for him. Ideally, I thought it would be the guy out of Washington, but the University of Washington. But this guy's closer. This is a chance they probably seen more of him on film and had eyes on him more than they would on the West Coast. So I thought this was a good pick for them. Here's another pick where a guy that's under the radar a little bit, where he's not that big name, where he can come in and just work his way in and actually do some good things in the secondary.
Yeah. Do you see him being a starter as a rookie?
I do. I think in Pease's defense, I think he's going to be asked to do a lot of things, and I think he's athletic enough to do the things that Pease wants him to do.
I think another guy that might see some playing time, maybe even start, is the Falcons' third round selection, Jalen Mayfield, offensive lineman from Michigan. What
you know
about
what? That was a good pick. The thing is, they were looking for an interior guy right there in that pick, and they got the guy they wanted. Here's a guy that understands the run game. Here's a guy that understands what it takes to be physical, to get upfield, get on a second level, whatsoever. So this was a really good pick. So here again, here's a young guy that's going to be surrounded by a lot of veteran guys, where he can learn and take his time to learn the speed of the game of the NFL. But I think he'd do a great job.
Yeah, I saw some photos of Jalen Mayfield. It looks like he is a Falcon fan, or at least a Julio Jones fan. I saw different photos where he had a recent Atlanta Falcon jersey on. So that's something else. Also, a guy that Falcons heard his name and they're like, man, we drafted another D Hall, another cornerback, fourth round. Darren Hall, cornerback out of San Diego State.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Brad Hoke over at San Diego State said some great things about him. Said he's a guy that creates turnovers. And that's the thing. He intercepts the ball. He causes fumbles. This is the type of corner we need. We need a guy that can come up, knock the ball down, knock it away, and make plays. And I think this is the guy they're looking for. I don't know if he'll be a day one starter, but eventually, as he learns more, he'll be a very good football player and eventually get some playing time as a rookie. And probably towards the end of the year, he'll have more playing time.
Yeah, Darren Hall was also a first team All Mountain West. And he's not the only cornerback we got from San Diego State. We also drafted DeMonte KZ back in 2017, also from San Diego State. You think the fans going to call him D Hall like they did D'Angelo?
Yes, they will. It's just nature. It's just
It
human nature.
is.
You know what? And this is, you got to understand, this is a kid that played in a conference where they threw the ball a lot. And
Mhm.
so he understands concepts, routes. He's played coverages probably 60, 70% of the time, every Saturday night. So here's a guy that can come in and right away is used to seeing the ball in the air and making plays on the ball. So I think this was a really good pick for the Falcons.
Okay. The Falcons continue to add depth to that offensive line. Fourth round, they drafted Drew Dahlman, center from Stanford, who some people think might even end up starting at some
I
point.
I think so because first of all, when you draft a center from Stanford, you're not only drafting a quality football player, you're drafting a smart football player because for a guy to play at Stanford for the academic rigor that they get and then be productive on the football field, that means he can comprehend and he can split the two, and he's a very smart guy. So I can see him playing day one because of the fact that he understands the philosophy of how to play the position, and he's smart enough to play the position, and he's the quarterback of the offensive line. So I think he you can see him starting day one. You know, we lost Mac, which was detrimental, I thought, but picking up this young guy here, I think it may help us. I don't know if it helps us right away, but it's going to help us in the future.
Yeah, the guy definitely has a pedigree. I mean, not only did he was he a team captain and earned first team All Pac-12 honors, but his father, Chris Dahlman, played for the San Francisco 49ers before he was actually an assistant on the offensive line for the Falcons back in 2005 and 2006.
Well, like I told you, this guy knows football.
Yes.
He's been around it all his life. His dad had played the position, so he's ready made for the NFL.
Yeah, he is. Um, Added some more strength up there near Grady with the fifth round selection of Taquan Graham, defensive tackle out of Texas.
You know what? That was a really good pick too. That was a solid pick because here again, we don't know if Davison that we drafted in the second round, I believe, out of Auburn is healthy and ready to play. But you needed another young guy right there to mix it up a little bit that has some edge about him, and one that's explosive. You need an explosive guy right there in the middle of everything next to Grady. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to run the ball because this is a solid front that the Falcons are putting together.
Yeah, they definitely are trying to bolster both sides of the ball
Right.
with this new regime. So that's a good thing uh, that the Falcons needed. They needed to solidify those trenches on both sides of the ball.
Well, you know, the thing is about what the Falcons have done on both sides of the ball. They drafted guys that play with some attitude, with little edginess, almost close to the envelope of being dirty.
Mhm.
And that's that physicality and that's that mentality that you got to have on both sides of the ball, defensive line and offensive line.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And they continue to add on that defensive line with that fifth round selection you mentioned. I'm gonna try it. Dekumbo Agondaji. We're gonna call you AO until I hear it more because I don't want to butcher your name, young man. He played a defensive end at Notre Dame.
I think he was. I think he was one of those guys that was overshadowed in that defense. I remember him having a really good game against that Clemson team last season, and I like this pick right here. Here's a guy that's going to help you because at the end of the day, there's no pressure on him to perform. There's no pressure on him to because we didn't pick him first, second, third round where they said, "Oh, we got our edge rusher. We're gonna have double-digit sacks." He can quietly have 10 or 12 sacks and nobody even knows. And that's what I like about this pick because even your opponents are not really paying attention to it because, you know, he wasn't drafted that high. But I think this was a really good pick for the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. I think he fell a lot is because of he was a 1 year starter. He didn't start many games, but he's talented with his height, his length, his size is going to make a problem for
Yes,
people in the NFL. So
yes.
I think it was a steal, like you
It
said.
was a steal, you know, they long arms. He can, his arms can touch you from where I am.
Hey,
So,
sorry to
so
go
I,
rewind. Speaking of long arms, I saw Kyle Pitts has the longest wingspan of any player they said ever in NFL history, passing DK
wow,
Metcalf.
wow. You know, we after we finish this, I want to revisit that pick and talk a little bit about Kyle Pitts and what he brings and what he's going to do for this Falcons offense.
Okay, okay. Well, I won't. I'll get back to it then. Fifth round, they drafted another cornerback, Avery Williams from Boise State.
Yeah. Well, here again, another Mountain West guy who's been in a conference where they throw the ball and he's seen a lot of routes, seen a lot of balls in the air. And here's a guy that can have the opportunity to stick around and be very productive for this team.
Definitely. He's a little smaller on the smaller side, but I think it's a guy that can definitely help out with the Falcons defensive back secondary. That's a place that the Falcons do needed to add some depth. And the sixth round, someone that you also drafted,
Yeah.
wide receiver from Arizona State, Frank Darby.
I think this is a steal right here, guys. He had a great career at Arizona State. I don't know what happened, why he slipped this far. But if I was him, I got the biggest chip on my shoulder right now. And here's a guy that's going to play for you and play hard for you because he believed that he was probably a first, second, third round caliber receiver. So he's going to prove to you that that's what he is, and that's how he's going to play. So this was a pick that fell in the Falcons' lap that they're going to be very, very happy with this young man.
I believe so as well. And I could tell that he was enthused to come to Atlanta. I saw his social media post, a live video, and he was going crazy to see that the Falcons selected him. So I know he'll be happy to play around the likes of the Julio, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, and now Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst.
Well, you got to understand this. Since the late 80s, early 90s, this has been wide receiver haven with Atlanta Falcons. If you become an Atlanta Falcon wide receiver, you're guaranteed to go to the Pro Bowl and be a caliber wide receiver. I'm just speaking from experience. I'm just speaking for what I know. This is just what I know. You know, we can go back in history. That's just the way it's been. So I'm sure he's excited because he knows he's going to catch a lot of balls and he's going to be seen. And his work in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years is going to be up there. His market value is going to be high. And you come to Atlanta, baby, you expect to catch footballs. As a wide receiver, if you don't perform here as a wide receiver here in Atlanta, you might as well pack your bags and go somewhere else because people are expecting you when you come here to perform at the wide receiver position.
Okay. Yeah, you never lied. The receivers that come through those doors have always been able to propel their career based on, and it doesn't matter the quarterback, like you say, from Chris Chandler on to Matt Ryan. So you can come out here and do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the Falcons did sign an undrafted free agent, Felipe Franks. Most recently, the Arkansas Razorbacks, but more notably played for Florida Gators with Kyle Pitts.
Right. I think you know what this was. I think this was one of those pickups where you needed a quarterback. You didn't need one right now. Here's a guy where he has potential. He has his ceiling is really high. And the thing is that you can have opportunity to mold this guy to what you want him to be. And what I've seen, I'm like, this is an Arthur Smith type quarterback, a guy that's, very accurate in throwing the football and can move around in the pocket and run the ball a little bit. So this is the type of guy that Arthur Smith likes, and this is the type of guy he wants. So at the end of the day, he wants to win with Matt Ryan, which they will do, but I can see him developing Felipe Franks into the same quarterback he had at Tennessee.
Yeah, Felipe Franks is definitely right now a guy that they can sit down behind Matt Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Not have to worry about putting him in the starter.
Right. I can see him. I can see him playing a role as of a Tannehill in 3 years.
Okay.
Because he's gonna have all the pieces around him to be successful.
Yeah. And I'm sure at some point him and Pitts connected, whether it was in practice or what. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they'll
that's
be roommates in training camp.
yeah.
Yeah.
um, the Falcons traded their second round pick. That's how they ended up getting Richie Grant from UCF. But the Denver Broncos, who are excuse me, is who they traded with, and the Broncos selected a halfback you and I talked about, Williams from UNC. How do you
Yes.
feel about that? Is that okay to you that we traded back? We got Richie Grant because we also acquired a fourth round pick with that. So, um,
Well, you know what? I'm not surprised because you didn't want to pick a running back that high right there because of financial obligations. I think they did a great job, but I was surprised that the Falcons did not draft um, a running back in the 9 picks that they had, and I was shocked by that. And but at the end of the day, I think they're happy with what they have whatsoever, and I think they'll do well at that running back position. But I'm okay with that. I am. I'm okay with that.
they did sign undrafted free agent Javian Hawkins, who played at Louisville, running
Yes.
back, who had a little bit of notoriety. And people who I also thought he probably would have got drafted, but he fell to the undrafted. So that might have been someone else that the Falcons might have got as a steal. I mean, they picked up a slew of players,
Yes, they did.
undrafted free agents. They really
They
did.
did. They did. And I thought they did. I thought they did a better job than most teams, especially the teams in our division in that area, because there, like you said, there was a number of guys that they signed that was undrafted that was expected to go high in the draft or mid round in the draft at the beginning of their collegiate season. So they're quality football players. So now you added quality guys to your team. And remember, folks, this is a business. You add quality guys to your team and you save money at the same time.
Exactly. It'll create a competition when you got all these guys. I mean,
That's what you want. That's what you want. If you want competition in your meeting rooms, you want competition and on the practice field. That's the only way you get better. And I think this organization, this coaching staff has created that, which makes this team better than they were in the last 3 years.
the Falcons made some. They picked up some fifth year option. Well, they picked up Calvin Ridley's. We'll say that they
Yes.
did decline Hayden Hurst's fifth year option. Is that the
I'm not
writing on the
surprised.
wall?
I'm not surprised with that. At the end of the day, Kyle Pitts is your guy, and you can't have two tight ends making tons of money for you when one dude is gonna be that guy. So I'm not surprised. And if I was Hayden Hurst, he's seen it coming. He's seen it coming. But his value, because he's a young guy, he still can play at a very very high level. His market value is going to be great when he becomes a free agent. But Kyle Pitts is that guy. Is that dude that changes everything. Changes everything for Calvin Ridley. Changes everything for Julio Jones. Changes everything for Matt Ryan. And this is the guy that Matt Ryan has been looking for since Tony Gonzalez retired. So I think Kyle Pitts is the right pick, the right fit for this Falcons offense and this team.
Do you think that with the Falcons signing AJ McCarron that they'll be able to keep Felipe, or will he possibly go on the practice squad, or is AJ McCarron going to make the team?
Well, you signed a veteran guy because of the fact that you have to. You got to sign a guy that's been in the league, that knows the league, that understands his role as a backup, and that's when he gets an opportunity. If he ever gets an opportunity to play, is to not lose games, but manage a game and let your weapons around you win games for you. And that's what AJ McCarron signed and did for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. All right. Well, let's rewind. I know you still got some thoughts on Mr. Pitts here. So what do you got to say about old Kyle Pitts and that number 4 selection for the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, this is what I do know. This is what the Falcons wanted. This is the guy they wanted. You got to look at Arthur Smith's history. You just got to look at what he's done in Tennessee. That tight end position is crucial because now he can move this guy Pitts around he can flex him out in the slot. He can put him at wide receiver. He can put his hands down. This is what you want, because what it does when you have a tight end that can do all these things, believe it or not, it opens up the run game. Because if you flex him out, you got to take a linebacker out the box or bring a safety and take him out where there's not a lot of guys in the box where you can run the football. So not only is he going to be a force in the pass game, but he's going to help the run game, because now what do? You can't play man to man on Julio, Pitts, and Ridley, and then if you go with a third receiver, Cage, and you can't do that. You can't do that. So you're going to have to play some sort of zone, and if you play zone, Matt Ryan going to pick you apart.
I guess my thing is, are we going to have enough? Are we going to be able to satisfy everybody? Are we going to be able to satisfy Julio Jones, Ridley, Pitts, Hayden Hurst, Gage? Is there enough football to go around for these guys? Is Julio going to be traded?
Well, to your first question is this. Your biggest concern right now is to help your team win football games and make plays when there's plays to made for you. Because at the end of the day, you want to win the division, get a home field advantage, and get into the NFC Championship, and eventually win that and get to the Super Bowl. And of course, you're going to feel like if I'm catching the ball and being part of it, that things are going to happen. But you got to understand this. You got to be unselfish in this thing and say, when my time comes and my number is called, I got to make plays. And when it's time when my teammates' numbers are called, I got to do things necessary to get him open so we can be successful. Because at the end of the day, as a wide receiver, your thought is, the more we're on the football field, the more opportunities I have to catch the football. So if the more 3 and outs, the less opportunity I have to catch football. So I'm going to have to block. I'm going to have to get open for my teammates, or create openings for my teammates, which is running my routes, taking people out of the area so my teammates can catch balls, and then myself catch balls. And that's the way you be productive as a whole unit. So the longer you're on the football field, the more opportunities you have to catch the ball. So if you're not doing any of those things, it's 3 and out, and you're going to be frustrated the whole year.
So do you think that we're going to keep this unit together for this 2021 season featuring Julio Jones, Kyle Pitts?
Well, this is the thing. Julio numbers make it so hard for him to be traded right now. Now, after June 2nd, there's a whole different ball game. But here's the thing. I'm Julio Jones right now, and I'm hearing that Falcons are taking phone calls on a possible trade for me. And it's really up to me if I want to be traded or not, because I can restructure my contract, take less money, blah, 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 and move on and be productive elsewhere. Or I can just, sit and wait and see what happens. And if I don't get traded, I'm here. If I do get traded, I'm going. I don't want that. I don't want that in my mind while I'm training to get ready for a football season. So if you're taking phone calls, let's talk and see what is good financially for both sides. You see what I'm saying? For both sides, and say, hey, okay, I would do this, but this is where I would go. You see what I'm saying? If I was Julio right now, and I'm not Julio, and I can't talk about anybody else's money, but if you come to Terrence Mathis and you taking, calls about trading me, this is what I'm doing. I'm sitting down and says, how would it make it beneficial for you, cap friendly, and how would it make it beneficial for me down the road? And that's the take I would have on it. And says, well, because right now my feelings is hurt.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to trade me. So if you're trying to trade me, that means you don't want me. So I don't care if it's financial, whatsoever you may say. If it's financial is the reason why you trade me, well, let's restructure my contract. But if you're not willing to restructure my contract and you listen to offers, my feelings are hurt. Mm-hmm. It's time for me to move on and go somewhere else where I'm going to be loved and appreciated. And that's just me, Terrence Mathis speaking. I'm not talking for Julio Jones,
Yeah.
because if I was put in that situation, that's the way I would feel.
All right. Well, here's a tough one. You're Terrence Mathis, the GM. What do you do?
I go back. I'm pulling Julio Jones into the office, asking questions. What do you think, about this idea of us taking phone calls about trading you? And I want Julio to be honest, and I tell him, be honest with me. Then the next question, we want you here, but how can it benefit both of us to keep you here and retire you as an Atlanta Falcon?
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it may be an agent call, but here you are. You're 30 something years old. You've been in the league for a long, long time. You don't need your agent to talk for you at this point, because you know what you want to happen for the rest of your career and for how you want to live the rest of your life. So this is not an agent call. This is not an agent conversation. This is two grown men talking about future of myself and the organization.
Yeah, if they can make it happen, if they can keep all those guys together, I would love to see a Sunday game with all that talent on the field.
And William, you know, fans may say, we gotta keep Julio, gotta keep Julio. Yes, he's that dude. He's the best receiver in the NFL. Remember, the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons, is a business.
Oh yeah.
It's a business first, and then there's football second. So if you understand the business of it, you put your emotions aside, and then just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, they definitely have to do what's best for the team overall, long term. Even Jerry Rice played with two other teams
Oh,
after the 49ers.
yes.
So
And that was hard to see.
yeah.
That was hard to see for him to play with the Raiders and then finishes his career in Seattle. People don't realize he finished in Seattle with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And that was just I just hated that he did that year in Seattle. That was not
I agree.
pretty.
It does. It reminds me of Jordan in Washington. It
Yeah,
honestly does.
yeah, it does. So, and that's the type of guy, that's the type of football player we're talking about with Julio Jones. We don't want to see him in another uniform. We want to see him retire the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons and Julio Jones have to come to some agreement that's going to make both sides happy.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that, Falcons. What do you got for us? Terrence's throwback.
Oh my goodness. Here's a good one. 1998, where we traveled to New Orleans. I know people love New Orleans stories because I tell a friend of mine who was a Saints fan, I said, "Oh, if I could play the Saints 16 times, I'll be in the Hall of Fame right now." But it was that afternoon. Dan Reeves had heart problems, and I remember that day like it was, what that game, like it was a very important game for us. I remember that game. Jamal Anderson rushed for 200 yards. I had 198 yards at the time, was a Falcon record. And we didn't know what was going on. And he was calm and cool. This was the calmest and the coolest that he has ever been. And then, when we get home and that Sunday night, we hear the news about, what happened, and he had to go have heart bypass surgery, quadruple heart bypass surgery, and we was all shocked. But that propelled us. People don't understand that propelled us to the Super Bowl, because there's always something happens in the season, and I hate to say this, that either brings a program down or lifts them up. And this was that time where we were playing well, but we probably, I hate to say it, we needed something to hang on to keep winning. And I remember Art Shell took over, Rich Brooks took over, and Art Shell says, "Hey, here's a man that literally poured his heart out for this franchise and for you. So what you owe him is to play your tail off and win football games for him." And that's what we did. And we played that the rest of the season. When he came back in the NFC Championship game, it was wonderful, and we won that game. And that's the throwback right there. It's the heart. And we talk about quadruple heart surgery, but it's the heart of the matter that helps a team wins. It's your heart, what how hard you play, the feelings you put into it, the feelings you have for your teammates and for the organization. That all that combined with your talent help win football games.
Yeah, I definitely remember that, and that was some true perseverance. And now to see that Dan Reeves is still doing well, so that's a great thing, and appreciate you sharing that with us, Terrence. As always, folks, make sure that you subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited so you don't miss an
Yes.
episode. Please do. Oh, and also send in some questions. The draft is complete, so I'm
Right.
sure you got plenty of questions for Terrence here. Anything else you got for him, Terrence?
That's it, man. Just have a blessed day. Enjoy life. Love each other. Uplift one another. That's
All right, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.